Good afternoon. Hello, my name is Natalie Chow, and I'm currently an undergraduate student here at the University of Guelph. I would like to welcome you to the Ontario Veterinary College Convocation this afternoon. The University of Guelph is honored by our graduates, and we take great pride in this ceremony. I'd like to tell you a little about the proceedings today. The ceremonials used for conferring degrees have evolved over a millennium, and the gowns and hoods represent that history. In general, the gowns for the baccalaureate and the magisteriate programs are black, and the color of the hood differs for each degree program. At the University of Guelph, the doctorate degrees have a bright blue gown, and the honorary degrees a red one. The University of Guelph crest that you can see on the curtains behind me and on the cover of your convocation program also represents our specific history. The emblem shows ties with the royal city of Guelph through the white stallion, our connection with the liberal arts through the book, to the sciences through the astrolabe, and finally a connection to abundance and agriculture through the cornucopia. The University of Guelph motto, Rerum cognoscere causis, is a quote from Virgil. It is variously translated to mean, happy is the one who is able to ascertain the meaning of things, or perhaps know the reason of things. The piper will herald the start of the procession of graduates, the students coming to graduate today. This will be followed by the mace leading the platform party. The mace is a symbol of the authority of the university, and it is carried by the beadle. In medieval universities, the beadle was chosen by the instructor to act as an assistant. Today, the beadle is a ceremonial officer of Senate. Following the beadle and the mace is the vice-chancellor, members of the administration and the honorees, fellows of the university, members of the board and senate, and members of faculty and staff. The degrees will be conferred in the order that you see in your program. The degrees are separated by categories representing the specific degree being awarded within the college. We will begin with the doctorates and the magisteriates, followed by the baccalaureate degrees. The name reader will present scholars to the vice-chancellor by degree category. As the name of each student is called, the beadle will place a ceremonial hood over the recipient's shoulders. This moment will be videoed, and technology willing, there will be a live cast of the event to allow family and friends to watch from a distance. The Vice-Chancellor will greet each student at center stage, and a photograph will be taken. We understand the joy and the excitement accompanying such an auspicious occasion, but we ask that you hold your applause until after each group of graduates has crossed the stage. There will be an opportunity for a truly thunderous applause. Once all the degrees are conferred and all the cheers are cheered, the Vice-Chancellor will close the ceremony and a recessional will play. We ask that you please remain standing through the recessional until the platform party has processed out of the hall. Our colleagues from Alumni Affairs are hosting a social media program developed especially for convocation. Please share your photos, memories, and advice with graduating students by joining us on social media using the hashtag #GuelphGrad. Finally, may I be the first person to congratulate the graduating students on their various successes and extend my congratulations to the family and friends who are here to support them today. Welcome to Convocation at the University of Guelph.
native land. True patriot love in all our sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land, glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
I invite us to pause for a moment and to reflect with our whole selves, mind, body, and soul, on our unique journeys, our distinct callings, and our place in this complex and mysterious world. In this moment, we acknowledge the Attawandaron people on whose traditional territory the University of Guelph now stands. We offer our respect to their Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Métis neighbors. We remember that the world as we experience it is not the world as it has always been. Furthermore, it is not the world as it must always be. In this moment, we give thanks for those friendships that have blessed us over the course of our studies. We are grateful for those who have supported us and held us up, faculty, staff, mentors, and families, for the journey has been long and the traveling hard. I invite you now to embrace a short silence, and in your own way, be it through prayer or remembrance or thoughtful affirming, recognize that for which you are grateful today. As we open ourselves to a new season of life, may the knowledge that we have attained here be coupled with wisdom, colored with compassion, and marked with humility. May we embrace each new opportunity in ways that honor creation, foster community, and defends the dignity of all people. And may the mystery of life and each new moment bring us laughter and delight as we seek to be agents of grace and peace and hope for this world. Amen. You may be seated.
Members of the board, honorary fellows and faculty of the university, family and friends, and graduates, welcome to the celebration of Convocation here at the University of Guelph. Let me also take this moment to extend a particular welcome to our past president, Dr. Alistair Summerlee, who is with us today. Alistair, welcome. And this afternoon's convocation speaker, Dr. Deb Stark, who will be introduced to you formally in a moment. My name is Franco Vaccarino, and I have the honor and the privilege of serving as the president and vice chancellor of this great university. And I'm privileged today to welcome all of you here to Convocation. And as we begin today's Convocation, let me offer a few congratulatory remarks. First off, graduates, this is your big day. You've worked hard, you've persevered, and you've made it. Well done, well deserved. You know, graduation day is all about transition, moving from one thing to another, from one state to another. And it's one of a number of important transitions that I'm sure you have already made in your lives and will continue to make in the years ahead. You know, last fall I had the opportunity to welcome our new first-year students to the University of Guelph, and I reminded them that besides being the incoming class of 2015, of course, they're also the graduating class of 2019. So that was, just for a moment of traveling forward in time. And just for a moment, I'd like to ask you to travel back in time to your own arrival here at the University of Guelph some years ago, not too many years ago. Remember how it felt to set foot on campus for the first time here as new students. I'm sure there was a mixture of excitement and anticipation and nervousness, maybe even, I would guess, confidence, hope, and fear, all kind of bundled together at the same time. Well, you figured it out. You explored campus, navigating through your classes and your labs, finding new friends, new mentors, perhaps even discovering the wider Guelph community. And perhaps most important, discovering a little bit more about yourselves. It was a time of transition, going from what you were to what you would become, including, by the way, becoming Griffins. Well, now it's time for that next transition, and maybe you're feeling a familiar mix of hope and optimism together with some trepidation and uncertainty. So I'd suggest that you think back over the past few years of your studies here at Guelph. Remember that you leave us today having gained new knowledge and having had a chance to study and work with some of the world's very best teachers and researchers. And as part of a learning-centered and research-intensive university, you've witnessed breakthroughs in scholarship and in research here at the university. You've also been part of a diverse, welcoming community, open to differing opinions and shared learning as well as discovery. And I would suggest that what you've learned here goes well beyond the teaching of strict subject matter. An important part of our mission as a university has been to provide you with the tools to successfully adapt to and navigate through the complexities and the dynamics of a modern society. In our fast-paced world today, the gap has narrowed, and it's narrowed in a big way between knowledge generation and knowledge application. New ideas become new products at truly an unprecedented pace. Information and communication technologies and the related democratization of learning and knowledge, the widespread access to information and knowledge have become game changers. Effectively, what's happened is that the distance between today and tomorrow has narrowed. Now, of course, that presents challenges, but it also presents amazing opportunities for us. A key challenge, of course, with change and transition is uncertainty, the very thing that some of you might be feeling right now. And of course, it is a challenge, but it's also, as I said, a wonderful and important opportunity. And the opportunity lies in what I like to call the upside of uncertainty. Taking uncertainty and change, adapting to it in a healthy way, and turning it into a positive, turning it into an opportunity. So what does that mean? Well, here on campus, it means that our researchers and scholars actually, they anticipate uncertainty, they anticipate change. And they do that by looking at problems and opportunities and developing solutions to them, and sometimes developing solutions to problems that don't even exist yet, anticipating the other side of that uncertainty barrier. For you graduates, it means building on all that you've learned, getting the job done, and getting it done well, all while also being, at the same time, future thinkers. You know, here at Guelph, we've tried to help you to learn to adapt to and, I would say, to indeed thrive in tomorrow's ever-changing world. We've looked to provide you not just with a curriculum, but also with the life skills or tools for your lifelong survival kit. So today you face a new transition. Some of you will continue on to grad school, others will enter the work world, and still others will travel or otherwise take time to ponder their next steps. Well, whatever your next move, here at Guelph we've provided the analytical and the qualitative skills you need to look beyond the world today and to succeed through innovation and problem solving in new and fresh ways. You've learned about adaptation and creativity, and I suspect you've also learned how to improvise a little bit. In effect, you've learned how to learn. And that concept of learning to learn, I think, has never been more important than it is in today's fast-changing world. And that's a good thing. As you leave behind the formal classrooms and labs, your learning doesn't end today. in many ways, it really is just beginning. It's about lifelong learning. The process of learning and adapting and applying that learning in new and fresh ways over your entire careers and over your lifetimes, actually. You've spent the past few years as part of the university community, and I hope you've had the chance to learn how you fit into that wider community, because taking that wider view will be essential for you in today's world and in tomorrow's world. Over the years, you will see that you will need to bring together different perspectives to bear on the issues of the day, to blend knowledge and ideas from different disciplines and apply that knowledge in innovative and important ways. We like to use an expression here, knowledge in action, taking knowledge and bringing it to life in ways that are powerful and meaningful to yourself as individuals and to the community around you. And it's also about finding that upside of uncertainty and using that knowledge to find that upside of uncertainty. As you enter this next exciting stage of your lives, I encourage you all to draw upon all of your University of Guelph experiences as learners and also as members of a very special community, and to bring the very best that you have to offer to every experience. Continue taking pride in your achievements. Embrace the opportunities that arrive, and they will arrive. Look to create your own opportunities that will shape our future, opportunities to redefine who we are, to see the future through a broader lens. You know, universities are among the very few places in society where a large part of our purpose is to foster ideas and innovation and to dream as well as to inspire hope. I encourage all of you to find ways to take what you've learned here to engage with and to indeed make a difference in our world, your world. Oh, and one more thing. I've talked a little bit about uncertainty, but let me say one thing for certain, that is, once a Griffin, always a Griffin. Congratulations and thank you very, very much. Now, this afternoon's convocation address will be delivered by Dr. Deb Stark. Dr. Stark is the Deputy Minister of the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. Dr. Stark first joined the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs as a veterinarian for dairy and beef and has held several positions within the ministry since that time, including Assistant Deputy Minister of the Food Safety and Environment Division, as well as Chief Veterinarian for Ontario. Dr. Stark holds a Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree from the Ontario Veterinary College and an MBA from Wilfrid Laurier University. And I have to tell you, I've had the privilege of working together with Deb on a variety of projects, and it's a particular delight for me to invite Dr. Stark now up to the podium to give today's convocation address. Dr. Stark.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be here. I really appreciate the chance to talk to the graduates of 2016. This is actually the second time I've given a convocation address. I was first asked to talk to the Ridgetown graduates in 2010. And at that time, I thought I'd start by doing my homework and finding out what exactly is a convocation ceremony anyway. And I found out it's a ritual that has 3 steps. There's a separation from society, transformation, and then returning to society in your new form. So we've dressed you up, we made you parade in here, we've got you all at the front where it's pretty hard for you to escape without causing a lot of embarrassment. I asked whether or not you had to turn off your cell phones, but apparently you didn't, so we didn't go that far. But I think we've got you separated. It's on to the second step now. At Ridgetown, I based my comments on a couple of key questions I thought new graduates might have. Did you make the right career choice? And what will happen to your friends? And then I gave them some career advice. Essentially, I took a group of happy, excited young people, and I reminded them that some of them would end up hating their jobs. I told them that despite how tight they were as a class right now, that would change. And I even suggested that their best friends might not be there for them in the future. And for some reason, I have not been asked back to Ridgetown. But it's 2016 now. I'm older, I'm wiser, and you're professional colleagues, veterinarians, not college grads. So what's different? What's my transformation advice to you? The answer to some of those key questions haven't changed. I don't think an investment in education is ever the wrong decision. As Dr. Brancarino has said, whether or not you ever work a day in life in a traditional veterinary job, you've learned to think differently, you undoubtedly feel differently, you've grown, and that's a good thing. But history suggests that some of you will take different paths, maybe becoming a full-time homemaker, maybe a lawyer, or entering politics, or even becoming a deputy minister. And if that time comes for you, don't be afraid and do not apologize. My standard career talk includes a part where I tell people how I owe much of my success to taking opportunities that other people have shied away from. I talk about leaving practice to join government at a time when everybody knew that vets only joined government if they were incompetent or too beat up to practice anymore. I talk about being asked to move into management because no one who had any experience would take responsibility for the animal welfare files. And I talk about moving on to the administrative side of the ministry, knowing full well that admin is a bad word to some people. And I tell people that in every case where I've gone into those positions that others have shied away from, I've found amazing people, I've learned to appreciate something I hadn't in the past, and I managed to feel that I'd had an impact. And when it comes to a successful career, you can't ask for more than that. But what I've never told any other group was the internal struggles that I went through trying to reconcile my vision of myself as a veterinarian against those interesting new opportunities. They were always difficult choices because they appeared to be pulling me away from my chosen profession. I think you have a better frame than I did. The One Health agenda means you can leave the position of Chief Veterinary Officer Ontario and go work for the Ministry of the Environment and still feel true that you're honoring your veterinarian's oath. But I do know that it's still a struggle. I was reading the June CVJ. There's an article in there by a recent graduate, Dr. Heather Fenton, and her story tells me that some things haven't changed all that much. The reality is that the world is moving quickly. You may want or you may need to reinvent yourself many times. If that happens, take a deep breath, find a mentor, we are out there, and go for it. And if you truly are fortunate enough to have found your passion for helping animals hands-on directly, the thing you wanted to do ever since you were in grade school, congratulations. You will have a rich career in traditional veterinary practice, and many, many people will be grateful for what you do. As for friendships, I don't know anybody who hasn't retained friends from their OVC days. But you've gone through life long enough to know that friends come and go. There will be surprises, and yes, maybe even some betrayals. But you are Griffin now, and that can't be erased. And I guess some of you are cobalt caracals, so we know. I told you this was a transformational experience. I do want to share a little bit different career advice than I shared at Ridgetown. Because if I've moved further along my career, I don't think it's helpful to talk only about work. You have to think about your life and how you're going to live it. So what's my advice? I have two thoughts. First, make time to reflect. Schedule it in like you will schedule any other appointment. And sit down and think about what you want for your life in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, and what you are going to do to make it happen. When it comes to our careers, we all know what to do. Make a plan and execute it, and it works. But we don't always apply that same thinking at home. And yet the final measure of a life well lived is usually much more about personal relationships than work accomplishments. You only need to read the obituaries to know that. Do not leave this to chance. I've always had personal goals. To achieve them, I've refused assignments when my parents were ill and I needed flexibility. I didn't compete for a job I might have liked because of the impact it would have had on my husband. We don't have children, but my husband and I dedicated significant vacation time over the years to our nieces and nephews because we decided we wanted to be an important part of their lives. And I feel I have this part in good shape, but it's been a struggle. It is not easy. The pull of work is relentless. I haven't been so deliberate on the friendship side, and it shows. My career has been fascinating, but it has taken its toll on those relationships. In the end, whether it's at work or at home, it's all about how we allocate our resources. We worry most about money, but time is the most precious. My second piece of advice, stay empathetic, keep caring. There are studies that show that as a society, we're becoming less and less empathetic. we're less willing or less able to experience the world through the eyes of others. And I don't know why. Maybe it's technology, maybe the world is just getting crowded, maybe we're focused too much on our individual passions and not thinking enough about the impact our decisions have on others. But it is disturbing. But veterinarians have empathy. You have empathy. It's more than just your training, it's how we view the world. Veterinarians take a healing point of view. When something is broken, our instincts are to fix it, not to throw it out and not to tear it down. And it's an important view of the world because there's so much that needs fixing. Whether it's antimicrobial resistance, algae blooms, food safety or food security, cancer or climate change, we need people who want to fix things. So no matter where your career and your life takes you, hang on to that perspective and that empathy. It's a scarce resource. So let's see, how have I done with the transformation this time? Well, once again, you looked pretty happy when you sat down. Once again, I reminded you that your degree might not get you the job you were thinking of your dreams, and your best friend might leave you. And this time I told you to start reading the obituaries and that the world is falling apart. I think you're transformed. But that's not how I want to leave you. You are graduating from one of the best schools in the world, in one of the best countries in the world. And I think it's only fitting that I end by quoting from one of the most popular graduation speech writers in the world, Dr. Seuss. Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head and feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98.75% guaranteed. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Charlotte Yates. I'm the Provost and Vice President Academic, and my first job today is to thank our convocation speaker. And I have to say, listening to her, I feel you're lucky. I'm somewhat envious. It was an absolutely wonderful speech, and I think it's one that will stay with you. There was so much in there that I think can help you as you move down the next path of your life. So thank you so much for the inspiration, humor, and honesty, which I think is incredibly valuable as you take the next step. So thanks so much. I'm honored to have heard your speech. But after all this is all about you. So the next step, I have the great honor of saying, will the graduating class please rise? Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars who have fulfilled the statutory requirements laid down by the Senate of the University of Guelph that they may be admitted to their various and several degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I hereby accept you for admission to your various and several degrees with all the rights, privileges, and obligations appertaining thereto. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating these terrific scholars on all their great accomplishments. Well done. You can tell them to sit down now.
You can all sit down now.
Good afternoon, graduates and proud family and friends of the graduates. My name is Teresa Crease, and I'm the Associate Dean of Graduate Studies. I'm sure you will be excited, perhaps a little relieved, certainly happy to see your graduate walk across the stage and be greeted by the Vice Chancellor. And you may want to express your emotions in some audible manner, and we encourage you to do so. However, may we ask that you hold your general applause until after the presentation of each degree program. I will give you the signal when it's time. Thank you. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the Ontario Veterinary College that they may be admitted to the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Gavin Armstrong. Adina Rachelle Bujold. Jacqueline Ann Jacobs. Lisa Danielle Kellenberger. Ehab Misk. Olutobi Oluwale. Christopher Pennelly. Shireen Melissa Singh. Lisa Andra Waddell. Lauren Elizabeth Waller. Cynthia Ann Ways. I'll do the clapping after. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you this scholar from the Ontario Veterinary College that she may be admitted to the degree Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. Oh, sorry. Doctor of Veterinary Science, sorry. Big difference. Delphine Laniès. Now, please join me in congratulating all of our doctoral scholars. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you the scholars from the Ontario Veterinary College that they may be admitted to the degree of Master of Biomedical Sciences. Abkara Abida. Mitchell Edwards. Melissa Ann Ferguson. Asim Shagil. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the Ontario Veterinary College that they may be admitted to the degree of Master of Public Health. Wesley James Atchison. Okay. Angelina Louise Bosman. Okay. Michael D. Dominicus. Sophia Garasia. Casey Panning. Courtney Ann Primo. Arabi Rajendran. Catherine Sadowski. April Smith. Olivia Jane Spawn. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the Ontario Veterinary College that they may be admitted to the degree Master of Science. Ritesh Bria. Jillian Elizabeth Hoffermajor. Nina Collin. Jessica Kilkenny. Craig Leroy. Kaylee Grace Mackey. Cassandra Lorena Morell. Now please join me in congratulating all of these scholars.
I'll introduce myself first. I'm Jeff Wichtel. I'm the Dean of the Ontario Veterinary College. So welcome, everyone. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you the scholars of the Ontario Veterinary College that they may be admitted to the degree of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. Sarah Ruth Ahola. Catherine Convey Alsford. Delia M. Anderson. Alicia Ann Ambrost. Jasmine Aurora with distinction. Megan Leslie Ballantyne with distinction. Elizabeth Ann Begley with distinction. Stephanie Alyssa Bellato. Nicole Christine Bonaventura with distinction. Sarah Elena Boyer with distinction. Elizabeth Kathleen Brown Okrulik. Karen Shaylin Carlton with distinction. Emma Chappelle with distinction. Amanda Sharon. Michael Schuster with distinction. Carmen Chu with distinction. Lindsay Alyssa Clark. Lisa Cohen. Sarah Phoebe Copeland. Madeline Teresa Bryant Cosentino. Jeffrey Taylor Kulf. Gregory Thomas Dimmers. Nicole Brittany Dobbin. Christina Karen Dross. Sarah Helen Lee Edwards. Caitlin Gallagher with distinction. Marjorie Jamie Gardner. Jolene Alyssa Giacenti with distinction. Kelly Guest. Catherine Violet Zanmaiha. Megan Haynes. Oops, sorry. Brittany Ellen James Hale. Kristen Mackenzie Hale with distinction. Kate Elizabeth Harrison. Amy Alicia Hill. Rachel Sharon Hughes with distinction. Joanne Elizabeth Jennings. Mikolas Gentis Kamaitis with distinction. Okay. Daniel Katz. Jacqueline Marie Kaufman with distinction. Adam Nathaniel Kleinberg. Christopher Paul Knight with distinction. Caitlin Morgan Krismanich with distinction. Leslie Kaiko Stephanie Kumagai. Michael Julian Kwan. Michelle Rong Lam. Sean Lang with distinction. Philippe Levy with distinction. Lingzi Lee with distinction. Clinton Dale Lichty. Lokwa Stephanie Lowe. Trisha Ann Mackey. Kara Jennifer Catherine McGee with distinction. Jillian Lee Marson with distinction. Sabrina Marie Martins with distinction. Kyla Elise Meyerhofer with distinction. Anna Marie Meredith with distinction. Edward Joel Metzger. Shauna Morrison with distinction. Riley Chelsea Nichols. Catherine Ann Nickel. Melissa Diana Pambianchi with distinction. Amy Panning with distinction. Kimberly Marie Patterson. Sarah Pickman with distinction. Megan Perron. Rebecca Shondell Phillips. Christopher Joseph Pinard. Rachel Mary Poppy with distinction. Okay. Erin Poor. Ursilia Poru with distinction. Okay. Cami Punya Murthy. Vidrana Rakocevic with distinction. Okay. Maggie Rock with distinction. Elad Rosenfeld. Amanda Rachel Salazar with distinction. Emerald Denise Saldana. Fernando Saldago Bierman with distinction. Sol Allen Sath. Nicole Skodras with distinction. Brittany Clary Shaw with distinction. Kayla Eleanor Shaw with distinction. Kendra Hall Sims. Danielle Dorothy Size. Natasha Elizabeth Smith with distinction. Danielle Amanda Snow. Jessica Squires with distinction. Kate Elizabeth Sweetman. Gretchen Seberg. Ryan David Tenbergen. Laura Tyndall with distinction. Sophie Veliano with distinction. Sarah Marie Walker with distinction. Kara Joy Wallach with distinction. Helen Waters with distinction. Marissa Ann Weaver with distinction. Stephanie Wilkinson with distinction. Claudia Wong with distinction. Megan Catherine Lynn Worrell. Sarah Elizabeth Wright with distinction. Denise Grace Yates. Danielle Helen Eunice. Omar Ahmad Zahir with distinction. Nicole Zaranek. Sharon Zhang with distinction. Please join me in congratulating all our newly minted DVM students.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I would ask you to confer the various and several degrees on the graduates listed in the program but unable to be present at this ceremony.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I confer the various and several degrees in absentia on the graduates not present. Well, graduates, you did it. Congratulations. Well done. Well, in keeping with the theme of transitions and change, I want to welcome all of you now to the Griffin alumni family. It's a growing family, of course, and this week you should know that more than 3,400 new graduates are joining that family of University of Guelph alumni. And just so that you know, the University of Guelph alumni now number more than 125,000 around the world. And as you can imagine, we're all very, very proud of your accomplishments here at the University of Guelph and do look forward to seeing how the foundations that you've developed here as students will continue to support you in the years ahead. We want to celebrate your achievements and successes with you and do hope that you'll stay in touch. And remember that you're always welcome here. You've made important memories here at the university, including today's ceremony. And remember this as well. You're a student for a short time, but of course, you're a Griffin forever. So congratulations again. Yes. Well, this concludes our formal convocation ceremony, and this is actually the 22nd class. We've hosted 22 convocation ceremonies this week, and this is our final ceremony for the summer of 2016. I'd like to acknowledge that many staff volunteers who help make convocation run so smoothly, and a lot of work goes into these events. In particular, I'd like to thank our anthem singers, Adrian Duncan Verschuren, Kieran Kane, Emma Fuller, Yu Hang Tang, and Kathleen Skinner. As well, I'd like to acknowledge also our piper, who I'm just always enthralled by and so impressed by, Dr. Bruce McDonald, for leading the academic procession. So thank you to all our support. Now, graduates, after this ceremony, I'm sure you're all in a rush to go start celebrating. But one small item of business: if on your way to celebration, if you could stop by the tent and drop off actually your hoods and gowns, that would be terrific. So thank you. Now, after the departure of the platform party, there will be a short intermission before the OVC Awards and Veterinarians Oath ceremony begins. And if you'd like to stretch your legs a little, there will be refreshments available just outside the hall before that ceremony begins. And you'll need your tickets to return to your seats, so just keep those available. And apparently, I'm reading here my notes, a bell will signal when you should return to the hall. So there you go. But again, thank you very much for your cooperation. Now, following the awards ceremony, Dean Jeff Wichtel will host a reception for all the graduates and their guests in the Lifetime Learning Center. And this really is an opportunity to congratulate the graduates, and we do hope that you can attend. Now, as tradition has it, the Vice Chancellor gets the final words. And the final words are, convocation is dismissed. Well done. Congratulations.